Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about the proof of God again. I've many times, many episodes, I've talked about, logic implies that the entire world is intelligent. Why? It's because logically, the part of something can never be greater than the whole of it, right? If the part can never be greater than the whole of it, what does that tell you? If humans are intelligent and humans are part of energy, it means humans can never be more intelligent than energy. We're not more intelligent than the world around us. If we can't be more intelligent than energy, because we are energy, it means energy is intelligent. This is basic logic. If we're energy and we're intelligent, it means energy is intelligent, right? So basic logic implies that energy itself is intelligent, right? And then quantum physics also implies that energy is intelligent. The first indicator that energy is intelligent is that quantum physics states that the world, reacts based off whether you're watching it or not. When there's an observer, the world reacts differently than when there's no observer. Meaning the world knows when it's being watched. The fact that the world around you knows when it's being watched implies that it is intelligent. There's an implication of intelligence. And then another thing that shows that, the world around you is intelligent is that your body is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, right? If you're intelligent, it means your protons, neutrons, and electrons are intelligent because your body is just protons, neutrons, and electrons, right? That's what your body is. Just a bundle of protons, neutrons, and electrons. If a bundle of protons, neutrons, and electrons are intelligent, it means the protons, neutrons, and electrons are the cause of your intelligence. They are the intelligent ones. And the thing that makes up these protons, neutrons, and electrons are subatomic particles, right? Do you know we're part of subatomic particles? Subatomic particles can exist in multiple places at once. So if atoms are intelligent, it means these subatomic particles are intelligent, right? And these subatomic particles that are intelligent can exist in multiple places at the same time. Do you know what that implies? It implies that distance is an illusion. And the only reason why distance can be an illusion is if everything is one. There's not many different energies. There's only one energy, one intelligent energy. So one intelligent energy is just like the Bible says. God is intelligent and omnipresent. Energy is intelligent and omnipresent. God created the world around us. Energy created the world around us. We are different parts of energy. Distance only exists from our point of view. We can see distance, but for subatomic particles, there's no such thing as distance. It's an illusion. Separation, me and you, the reason why there's separation between me and you is only from us, from our point of view. From the point of view of energy, there's no separation. Everything is one. So your intelligence is shared intelligence. Your intelligence is not, from at a lower point of view, at the lower states, from subatomic particles and lower. Yes, the world goes on infinitely. There's infinite. You can zoom in infinitely lower. So subatomic particles are not the lowest we can get. That the world implies that there's infinite levels, infinite sizes to the world. But, as you get lower and lower, you start to realize the world becomes more whole and whole. Everything starts to become one. As you get larger and larger, everything starts to separate. Because the lower forms, create the greater forms. The tiny atoms create the human being. The human beings create the human society. And it just keeps growing from there and then and then. The human society and all life forms create life. And life creates a bunch of other things. So it's like it just slowly gets bigger and bigger. But separation only appears, as separate. Distance only appears as distant from our point of view. At a certain level, there's no such thing as distance because everything is one. If there's no such thing as distance, that means my intelligence and your intelligence are one. In God, we're all one. God is the intelligence that creates all our intelligences, that governs the rules of this world, that created the rules of this world. Energy created the rules of this world. God created the rules of this world. There's no difference between the two. If the definition of both are the same, then they are the same thing. If the definition of both are the same, then they're the same. Energy is intelligent. Energy is omnipresent. All intelligences comes from energy, meaning we're all one. In God, we're all one. In energy, we're all one. And that's how life works. There's so many proofs of God in this world. If you still can't realize that God exists, when it's so, even scientists already, the more scientists find out more about the world, the more proof you'll find that God exists. Scientists do not go against the belief, the proof of God. They just don't know what God is. So they don't have a full understanding of what the God of the Bible is. They keep assuming that God doesn't exist. When the world around you, the intelligent world around you, implies God. That is the very definition of God. Intelligent and omnipresent. The world around you is intelligent and omnipresent. From my point of view, distance exists. But from the point of view of quantum, physics, distance is an illusion. Our own intelligence, our separate intelligence, only appears separate from our point of view. From a different point of view, all our intelligences are shared intelligence. There's a governing body that governs our intelligence. And that governing body is God. There's a governing body that governs how all the rules of this world are the rules created by God. The rules of gravity, the rules of thermodynamics, the rules of, of electricity and all these rules, the rules that govern, light, physics, these rules were created by God because God has infinite intelligence. God isn't a human being. God is the source of your intelligence, meaning God's intelligence is infinite because the world around you is infinite. Since the world is infinite, it means God is infinite and his intelligence is also what? Infinite. If his intelligence is infinite, something with infinite intelligence, is it hard for it to create the world around you? Is it hard for infinite energy to create the world around you? If you start to believe that energy can't create the world around you, now you're the one that's telling lies. Because if energy can't create the world around you, then what's this? If intelligent energy can't create this intelligent world around you, then where are you? What world are you living in? You're living in a world governed by energy. You're living in a world governed by God. You're expecting God to be a show-off. You're expecting God to be like, those narcissists that just show up every day and tell everybody, hey, I'm God, I'm God, I'm God. God is not human. What you care about isn't what God cares about. The things you care about, fame, fortune, and power, isn't what God cares about. God is omnipotent. There's nothing more powerful than God. So what does God need power for? God is omnipresent. There's nobody more famous than God because everything is God. So what does God need fame for? The things you care about as a human being aren't the things that God cares about. God does not care about fame, fortune, or power. It means nothing to God. God does not need fortune because God is everything. God does not need fame because God is everything. God does not need power because God is everything. The word power means nothing to God. But from your point of view, you expect God to be some sort of, egomaniacal lunatic that, always shows up in front of you telling you, hey, I'm God. Everyone pay attention to me. I'm God. You only believe in God if God shows up in front of you. Yet the entire world you live in is God. If you only believe in God if God shows up in front of you, guess what? You'll never believe in God. Because God does not need your attention. God does not care about your attention. God does not care about fame or fortune. Because everything is God. From God's point of view, these things are worthless. Only from your point of view do these things have value. From the point of view of God, these things are worthless. When you die, you go back to God. So all the fame and fortune that you have, once you die, you lose it. All the fame, fortune, and power that you have, once you die, you lose it. That's how meaningless it is. Yet after you die, you'll still be God. This is why God, always tells you, fame, fortune, and power are traps. They are traps of this world. Because once you die, you'll lose it all. After you die, you'll still exist, but you'll not exist with this fame and fortune and power. These are temporary setbacks in life. These things aren't things you should kill yourself for. These things aren't things you should sell your soul for. These things aren't things you should sin for. You are, as God, you are eternal. As energy, you are eternal. So why are you dying for money? Why are you killing people for money and power or fame? These things are meaningless in the grand scheme of things. They have no real value. Because after you die, you'll still be God. And God is eternal. That means you are eternal. So be careful, what you sell your soul out for. Be careful what you do to harm others. You think you're gaining power and fortune and fame. You harm others. You do evil deeds for power. You do evil deeds for fame. You do evil deeds for money. Yet the thing you're selling out, all these things you're doing has major consequences down the line. The cost, goes beyond life and death. You get fame now, but when you die, all the consequences of your actions still follow you. They still follow you after death. Yet the money, fame, and power does not. The thing you're desperately trying to grab today is only temporary, because they'll disappear when you die. But yet your actions govern what happens to you after you die. Your actions right now determines what happens to you after you die. So if you don't become a good person here right now, if you're a money hungry, demented lunatic, guess what? When you die, all that money that you're dying for, all that money that you did all these evil deeds for, these manipulations, scams, all the money you made will disappear from your life. And you still have to answer for all the wrongdoings that you've done. You still have to answer to God for every bad thing that you did in life. This is the consequences of your actions. You're losing, you're borrowing from the future for now, for something that's temporary right now.